Hey everybody, well I'm doing another one of my behind the scene videos, and as you can tell from the squinting, I am outside. So the reason I'm outside is because I have some fiber drying. So today's video is going to be on suppliers. Okay, so the reason I was outside was I wanted to show you this really pretty fleece, and this is an entire fleece that I got, and so I got a good deal on it because I bought the whole fleece. And I also got it on a good discount from a small provider. So this is a new breed to me. It's CVM, which you can see is a beautiful, despite my shadow, grays and taupes color. So this is what I've got out here, and the reason I'm showing it to you this way is, one, I'm very excited the sun is actually out enough for this to dry, because this has been really a little behind the scenes here. Is in the winter it is super hard to get stuff done when you're a fiber business because the sun. I washed this morning and it's already, I would say, like 80% dry. Like, I keep coming out here and kind of flipping it over, but because it's in the sun, it's actually drying well. Whereas when it's rainy constantly like it's been here and freezing cold, like trying to dry this in my house, it will literally take, I swear it feels like a week. It's like 4 days. So it takes forever. So doing this out here really helps. And the reason that like I said, I wanted to show you was a lot of my fiber I'm actually processing by hand. So I got a good deal on it because it was a raw fleece when I got it, and then I'm processing it myself, which is extra time and work, but if you get a good fleece that's not in bad shape to start with, is well worth it. Okay, so in true non-glamorous behind-the-scenes promises here, this is a further along example of a different fleece or from raw wool that I got that was a Leicester long wool. I may be saying that wrong, I'll have to look it up and put it in the notes, but it started out as this really pretty, it was like locks, and I cleaned it by hand like you saw outside, and it dried to this really pretty, beautiful, clean white. And I then used wool combs, which is a giant pain in the butt, as you can imagine, and combed them all out, and it was looking more orderly, but it's kind of looking not orderly now. But the fibers are all generally going in one direction, and I dyed half of them this really pretty blue color with some natural indigo. So I am spinning that. Right, oh, there's Jolene. Say hi, Jolene. I'm spinning it, and it's turning out this way, and I'm undecided on whether or not this is going to end up. I really love it as a single ply. And y'all know I'm kind of a sucker for single ply. So I may leave it this way, or I may double ply it, which would be a return to my, you know, what I'm most known for. But that's how, like I said, showing you it goes from something dirty, drying outside, to being hand combed, dyed, and then turning into yarn. So that's all an example of some supplies that I have very much controlled. Okay, another part of supplies that you might not think about so much, but is probably the most important as far as bulk ordering that I can think of that would be useful for everybody, is packing and shipping supplies. And there's another, it was meant to be sort of humorous video on my YouTube channel, jokingly called, I think, like the Crafty Housewife Yarns Luxury Shipping Experience, and it was kind of on how I like to reuse the shipping, like really lightweight shipping envelopes I get from Target, because I don't like to spend a lot of money on my shipping and packaging, and I feel like that's one of those things that, you know, you can kind of see a lot of different small businesses do, or you'll order something off Etsy, and I mean, it's clear, and it's beautiful, I love that they do it, you know, that it's, the packaging beautiful, and it's got all these, like, magical little extra tokens. And I started out, when I first started, I did do more of that sort of thing, and then I really got to where I figured that, at least with my customers, they would kind of rather have better prices on the yarn and the fiber than me having to charge more for, like, getting it in fancy packaging. So it's important to me, and I've spent time researching, and I have a tool I will help you with on getting affordable, like, all the little things that do add up. So here, talking about things like these packing envelopes. These are my nicer ones. This one's actually new, so it is not reused from Target, that I will use for bigger things if somebody orders like multiple you know, skeins of yarn that all needs to fit in there. Like I said, honestly, I do reuse also because I'm a big recycler and reuser. I love reusing the, you all know what I'm talking about, like the really thin envelopes that I get from, like, I order a lot of things online, Target, or if you're an Amazon Prime person or whatever. I mean, you know how it is, like you can order some underwear and they'll send you like each pair in its own little plastic thing. So I reuse those a lot. But for like my, I used to mail these out, but then they got more crinkly. But with my fiber bats that are in shops, because I do wholesale with shops, I really agonized on packaging for them because obviously with fiber bats, like people want to be able to, you know, they just don't look good in plastic. And so I wanted something that was like open-ended where you could feel the plastic. I'm sorry, my kids are coughing in the other room. It's that time of year. And, well, you could still see it. So in this one supplier, and like I said, I have I'll hook you up with the book that I found this in. It was like a supplier's guide. These are actually there's a little one, and then this is the same thing, but it's just bigger. And so I've used those for like my 1 ounce bats and my 2 ounce bats. And they are actually in the bag section when I ordered them. They are bread bags. So they were something that, they're actually biodegradable. So I paid a little bit extra, because like I said, I'm big on recycling and that sort of thing. I hate landfills. So these are actually, it was cool, are biodegradable, because I like the idea that if you bought something from me, at least that little bag, if it got thrown away, would break down. So that made me happy. But like I said, there's no such thing as like an art bat bag. So I just looked for the right dimensions for what I wanted. Like I said, I had a couple different sizes. And these were actually in the like food storage bag section of like a wholesaler. And that's important. That's pretty much the important thing, is you have to have wholesalers. Like you can't go, because I started out going to like the Michaels or Party City or whatever and buying like the little bags that look just like that, but they're like for party favors. You will go broke. Like, I mean, it doesn't look like it's that much money, but compared to what this is per item, it's way less. And there are, with wholesalers, especially for that sort of thing, you have to buy in bulk. So, I mean, you are gonna, instead of going to Michael's and spending like $5 on a bag of 12, you're gonna be dropping like $50 for like a whole bunch of them. But then you'll have a whole bunch of them, and if you divide it out, the price per individual bag is going to be way less than if you just go and spend like $5 or $6 each time for a little bag of 12. So it's still like, that's one way to really watch your cost. The number one thing to do is you really have to find actual suppliers. And I've talked, let's see, more examples of bags I bought. I have sold stitch markers in the past. So from the same people that I'd gotten that from a wholesaler, I got these cute little bags for stitch markers. And when I first started, I thought I was going to I was trying to do like little kits. So I thought I was going to have, and you can see it's covered in fiber. I actually had a friend make me a stencil with our logo, and I found out that I'm a horrible stenciler. And I hated it. So I had these bags that I made that now I just have. As you see, I did a really bad job stenciling. Like, I'm a horrible stenciler. But I did buy those bags, and luckily I wasn't out a lot of money because I got them from a wholesaler. So now I just have lots of bags for my own personal use. But, so whether it's fiber or shipping supplies, this little guy, you can get, let's see, Scotch shipping tape. This stuff is not cheap. And I go through this like crazy. Like Mom and I both, last time she was here, I sent her home with like 4 rolls of this because she goes through it a lot too with shipping things to people. If you go on Amazon, they sell stuff. This is where I'd gotten the tape like in bulk, and you can actually sign up for like the subscribe and save thing, because like I'm gonna forget to get more of that. So I think like every 3 months or something I get sent like a big box of packing tape. And it's always like just in time. I'm like, oh boy, packing tape. So it's really things like that. Go look, like don't just go to the store and buy like 1 or 2. Like you really have to, and like I said, if you can get it on like the tape thing, like one of the Amazon subscribe and save, I use for like toilet paper, paper towel, soap. Like they've got all sorts of stuff, and I love it because I'm busy and I'm not going to remember to go. I'm really bad about remembering to buy toilet paper and stuff like that. So it's good if you can sign up for anything like that. Okay, so covering all of like the paper, shipping, that sort of things, I found those in a guide that, like I said, my business coach, I started following with her free stuff that it's actually one she put together. I forget the exact title off the top of my head, but I will get you pointed in the right direction to getting it. But it's like a guide with, and it's for all sorts of craft businesses. So it's not fiber related at all. So it's like jewelry stuff. I don't know anything about jewelry, packaging stuff, paper goods stuff. Like if you do stationery, like it's any sort of thing like that you could need. For me, that's where, like I said, I found my supplier for like the bags. But like I said, I wasn't looking for like fiber bags. I was looking for bread bags. So like I said, you really need to go through it, make like a list of any weird little thing you think you might need, that might not even be directly related to your particular craft. And then you can go through this guide and you can locate your best prices there. Because what you're going to want to do to have any sort of a profit margin, or if you want to go into wholesaling like I did, is you have to have enough of I did it off of what my supplies were for each individual, like yarn or fiber or whatever, and then figure in my time. But I wanted to be able to keep that threshold low enough that if I wanted to sell it to a shop or a wholesaler, that, I mean, granted, I would be making as much money, per time. So it might not be something you want to do if you're like super caught up on like, I have to have this much per hour to make it worth my while. That might not just be for you, might not personally work out. But for me, I wanted to be able to make some money if I wholesaled for like bigger accounts. And then obviously more money if I retailed it. But I also, if y'all follow my business, y'all know I do sales. Like, I don't feel like my prices are that crazy to start with. And then I really like being able to do sales for different things, or we do like fun shopping events. I kind of have like my own besties that are on my email list, and I like to be able to cut people a deal. I mean, I didn't grow up rolling in money by any stretch of the imagination. And I remember the first time I went into a yarn shop, I about had a coronary on how much stuff cost. And I mean, it was probably like $12. It was not that serious. So I just personally don't want to be charging some astronomical amount of money for my yarn or my fiber. And so I knew I needed to, in order to sell what I wanted to sell, make some money to be able to keep doing it and put money, towards stuff for me and my kids, I needed to have my supplies in check. So that was super duper important to me, or else my whole business would fall apart. So a big part of that, like I said, it's super not sexy, is getting boring stuff like packing, shipping, tags, stickers, any of that, as affordably as possible, and not going crazy with, if you're one of those people that is kind of a perfectionist and everything has to be exactly the way you envision it in your head. I mean, that's fine, but don't waste a ton of money and cut your legs out from under yourself. As long as everything is clean and fresh and packaged professionally, it doesn't need to be like, gold encrusted or whatever. So that would be, like I said, I'll hook you up with the same guide that I used, that Renee Christine hooked me up with for that sort of thing. As far as the fiber suppliers, if you're watching this for a fiber particular, I will really recommend, it's a new thing that I wish this was around when I'd started. It would have made my life much easier. But mylocalwool.com, and my friend Ashley, who we work together with Spinolution, she is like kind of the mentor. I don't know what her official job title is now, but she's been super helpful to me as a dealer with Spinolution. She started it, so it's kind of a passion project of hers. It's a website that she runs called mylocalwool.com, and it's awesome. Like, it has a map, and you can put in your zip code where you're at, and it pulls up local farms, fiber mills, fiber artists. You can be on it too if you're somebody that like teaches or dyes, or like, seriously, go check it out. Like, that should be a good tip. Go list yourself if you have any sort of services that are fiber related on mylocalwool.com. But then if you're looking for fiber, then that's like a magical resource that was not there when I started. I had to do all of that legwork myself. And I mean, it was kind of fun, but you know, it was a lot of work. And it was when we were moving from Washington to here, and it was pain. So you're lucky that Ashley is doing this for you, and it's free. So go put it in, and you can find what is in your area. And then, like you saw with my fleeces drying that I've dyed, a lot of what I do, I mean, some of it I have been lucky enough to get that's already processed from like the farmer got it processed, and then I bought it from them, and it was still like a good deal. But you know, I do pay a little bit more if I'm getting it like Shetland and roving form versus just getting a fleece. A lot of it, and you have to weigh your time and what you can do with that. But I mean, a lot of that, I don't have any like secret, this is where you get the whatever from, because it's going to be different for every person. The reason that my supplies support my business like they do is, I mean, if you look at my webpage, they're all about local stuff. So your local stuff is going to be different from my local stuff. Like, I'm literally meeting farmers in like parking lots at Hobby Lobby. And my husband picks on me because it really looked like a drug deal where they show up with a bag and I give them money. Actually, I give them like PayPal. We PayPal each other. But that's what supports my business. Like 80% is working with local people and then just doing some of the hard work myself. And you know, like I said, a lot of times you can get farmers where they have sent it off to a mill and it's already processed. So if you're more comfortable getting roving, that's great. If you're a dyer, then you're already, you know, you can dye it yourself. And if y'all want more information on dyeing, let me know. And I'll, we've done a little bit of videos with, you should look back through our channel, anything with Christina Mossad in it. I always ask her dyeing questions. But if you have particular dyeing questions, I'm happy to ask her on that. But that's really for your like paper, plastic, that sort of suppliers. You need to use an actual wholesaler. And for fiber-based supplies, you need to look local. Like, I can't give you, there's no, a magic directory anymore. Actually, I can. It's mylocalwool.com. Like, that's the magic fiber directory. So go there, find yourself what, you know, I would start small. Like, don't be like, I want all the fiber, which is very tempting, I know. But find yourself like maybe 3 different wool bases that is your thing. And get those and then break it down. I sell everything in like pretty much 4 ounces for yarn. I think all my yarns for the most part, unless they're specialty, are all around 4 ounces. And so that way I can break everything down for I've got this much in it per ounce times 4, you know, and then that way I know what my baseline is for my fiber supplies. And you know, the lower you can keep that, the more margin you will have to build in on top of that yourself. So I will link down below this video. Like I said, I had mentioned in the first one that we do have a new sponsor. So, oh yes, here, let me do my spiel. Please like our YouTube, this video, like our video, and please subscribe to our channel. And also, like I said, we do have a new sponsor, which is my friend and business mentor, Renee Christine is giving away, and she's always giving it away, but I'm helping you find it, her free handmade product line training, which is where, I mean, the whole supplier thing, and that's how she ended up interviewing me, was I like followed her supplier advice like to a T, and that's what got me to where I was. And that's what our little interview was on. But all of that is in her free training. And so if you sign up in the link below, you will get a series of emails that I spend a lot of time writing from myself, as well as from Renee. And I'm not quite sure how all of that works in cyberspace, but basically you'll get a video series on her product line training, which is the exact same like information that started this business. And you also will get emailed the link to her supplier's book. Not in the same day. The supplier's book, I think it's maybe in the 3rd email, because it comes from me. But we didn't want to like hit you with everything all at once. But you will get a copy of the free supplier's guide, which is where I found all my bags and everything. So the idea is that we have all of this good information. We're going to trickle it out to you so it doesn't like overwhelm your brain all at one time. So anyhow, go sign up for that if you want that. And if you have any questions, you know, comment below. And let me know what topic you would like to hear about next. I have some other behind the scenes stuff planned, but you know, let me know.